No, we're on my phone.
Okay.
Okay, now let's hope.
You're doing all the announcements, right? I realized that you had all that. Is that prayer request?
No, that's remember in the sermon. That's the yes.
I don't know what I'm doing.
So I should point towards you.
Yeah. What is the...
No, we want to be at the I realized I didn't have room in the car because you can't imagine and general because they had to send stuff with me that Lori forgot.
Rebecca brought this among us. This is no precipitation for 120 minutes.
Okay, well, I was looking at that cloud and like, it's one thing what they say. There's like sky, yeah, look. So deceiving. Okay, good. Have faith.
Are there any other prayers that first half?
Good morning. I want to particularly welcome you to SpringHouse's Worship in the Park. It is good that we are gathered together in God's name. I want to direct your attention to the last 2 pages of our bulletin, where there are SpringHouse announcements and then announcements from all 3 congregations. I invite you to peruse those and see all that is happening in the life of our congregations. And Dan, I think you have an announcement to lift up in particular.
Yay, Dan, that's good.
Thank you, Ernie. One additional announcement for the First People. Pat and Bonnie have the sign-up sheets for St. Stephen's on the 21st of September. It's our turn to serve a meal. So if you're interested, please see Pat or Bonnie after worship today.
That was, in fact, Pastor Dan. I think folks know us. I am Pastor Rebecca from Lindale, and this is Allison Conley, who is with us this summer doing her ministry internship at Lindale. This morning, as we begin our worship, we wanted to start with a ritual that Lindale has been doing since our SpringHouse servant trip to the Cheyenne River Reservation. It is a ritual of healing and repair, known as land acknowledgement. We who are gathered in worship this morning acknowledge that this is Dakota land, near the sacred convergence of the Mississippi and Minnesota rivers, known as the Dote. We offer our gratitude to all Dakota people who have for centuries nurtured, cared for, and lived in right relationship with these lands, these trees, and these waters. We who are non-native acknowledge our participation with the ongoing colonization of the land and seek to live in a posture of truth-telling, repair, and reparation.
And after grounding ourselves in a right understanding of the land on which we rest, we ground ourselves too in a right understanding of our bodies. We'll take a moment to rest, inhabiting our bodies fully. We notice, where do we find comfort and peace in our bodies? We celebrate such places. And we ask again, where do we find discomfort or pain in our bodies? And we notice that too. We take a moment to acknowledge that pain and to acknowledge God's presence in the midst of it. And now we take a moment to move our bodies in a way that feels good to us, sitting or standing, maybe a twist to our arms, or wiggling our fingers, wiggling our toes, or just settling in a little bit. Let's take a moment to move our bodies with God and breathe on the Spirit. And now we offer those movements to God as our prayer to our embodied God, and we join together in our hymn this morning.
Freedom
Would you join me in prayer? Let us sing for God, and let God sing for us. Songs of delight and satisfaction, of discovery and renewal, of harmony and hope. Let us hum for God, and let God hum for us. Lullabies of comfort and patience, of possibilities and peace, of justice and love. Let us chant for God and let God chant for us. Rhythms of change and declaration, of perseverance and promise, of fire and devotion. Let us sing for God and let God sing for us. Ballads of faithfulness and wonder, of the turn of sunshine and rain, of joy that does not sunset. Come, let us sing together with God. And would you turn and share the peace of Christ with those around you? We're back.
For allowing some technical difficulties to get worked through.
Let us lift our prayers to God, trusting
that God hears us with open ears and hearts. God, we pray for your church in the world.
As you fill us with your Spirit, give us the courage to break down walls, to reconcile the divided, and live as examples of your mercy and grace as we go about your work with and among your people. Great Creator, you formed the furthest reaches of the universe, and yet your Spirit dwells within each individual life. Be the companion and keeper of every creature, and restore creation in the way only you can. Create an urgency in each and every one of us to be about the work of restoration and conservation for the sake of all that you have so lovingly crafted. God of the nations, bless grassroots movements and guide elected officials. Give leaders the wisdom and temperament to lead well. Teach nations and people to be good neighbors to each other. Inspire us all to share food, land, knowledge, and art for the common good. Holy One, you rescue those who are in need. Be with all who need homes and feed all who are hungry. Bring employment for those who seek it, comfort those who are grieving, and bring hope and healing to those who are sick, lonely, depressed, or angry. This morning as we gather, we lift to you all those who are closest to our hearts and our minds. We especially lift by name Sarah Tunin, Doug Malchow's son, who's still recovering from heart surgery, Reva recovering from a hip replacement, and Naomi's daughter April, who will be having surgery for breast cancer tomorrow. We lift to you those who are traveling these summer days, that you would keep them safe. We think of the Kakowskis as they're traveling for the wedding of Kirsten's son Aaron. We give thanks for that joyous occasion and ask you to bless their time together. We give you thanks in our joys, O God. Today we celebrate with Rebecca and myself as we both celebrate anniversaries of ordination this week. We celebrate and give you thanks for the wonderful ministry that we have been able to be part of and the partners that we have. Holy One who lives to build relationships, we thank you for the friendship, community, and witness of those who gather today at SpringHouse. Bless the covenant relationship we share, and continue to give us the Spirit to live into it in our work and in our play. Send us out into the world as an example of how your church can be, united even in our differences, for the sake of your people and for your gospel. All of these things, and those things we haven't even brought to our lips, and still hold closely in our hearts, we lift to you, God, trusting that you indeed are our God, and we are your beloved children. In your name we pray. Amen.
And two joys as Deb comes up that I forgot to space out one I just found about. Today is Wendy Manuel's 1-year ordination anniversary. Today, we ordained her a year ago. And then Jim Bowman's heart valve surgery went well. He's home recovering.
And if anybody still needs a bulletin, they're right up here by one of the baskets. So feel free to get it. So, okay. Okay, boys, you want to come over here and join us? And let's just kind of take a corner.
If there's any other littles, they can come up here.
Yeah. Any other children who want to join us? Can I have that chair, Kevin? Thank you. Okay, let's gather around. You want to come have a seat? Oh, well, hi. I haven't seen you for a while. Look at your sandy hairstyle. I really like that. So, you guys, out of all the seasons we have winter, spring, summer, and fall, in theory. We have 4 seasons, right? And everybody's favorite season is winter, right? No. That was pretty emphatic. I got a yes. So, what's your favorite season? Solveig?
Summer.
You don't have a favorite? You just go with it, with what we get, right? Very good. Very good. What about you boys? You like summer? Yeah? Axel? You like summer. What is it about summer you like? Basically, he likes the warmth. Yay. Yes. He likes it when it's hot and he feels hot. What about you? Do you like summer at all? A little bit? You know what one of my favorite things to do in the summer? Is go swimming. Like outside in a lake. My grandparents had a house that was on Lake Wissota. And so as soon as I knew how to walk, my mom taught me how to swim. So to me, swimming meant summertime and my grandparents and corn chips. We'd get out of the water and we'd spread towels out on the grass and lay in the sun and dry off, and we got to eat Fritos corn chips. That was pretty cool. Yep. So that's, kind of why summer is a favorite for me. Now, and we're taking advantage of summer even though it's overcast. And we had one of these picnics in the park and worship in the park where it was so cold everybody had their coats on. This is great. There's a breeze, it's not too buggy, and sun's not so bright that we're all squinting. So this is a good time for us to come together and enjoy each other and the weather and what else? You know what's happening after worship? Pastor Rhonda knows. Yeah, we're having a potluck picnic.
Corn chips.
Yay! All right. So we're gonna have a picnic lunch when we're done with worship. Now, something else that kind of summer means is when we get to the end of summer, what starts again?
Winter.
Not yet. Close. Fall. And what do all of you end up doing in the fall? Sunday school. That's good. And what do you do during the week? Oh. How about any of you go to school? Yeah. Okay. And some of you go to preschool. So that kind of is a way of knowing that things are changing. We're going from summer to fall when school. Has anybody's school already started?
Not around here.
I just got back from visiting my family in California, and one of my nieces was already in school, like 2 weeks ago. Yeah. I got up and I went, well, where's Danielle? That's cool. Excuse me, what? They had already started. So, we're lucky that you guys haven't had to start yet. Now, something we're going to do, and hopefully this will help all of you be ready for school, is after the meditation, so when this is done, we'll have meditation. After the meditation, we're going to have a back-to-school blessing. So we'll have you guys come back up here again for that, okay? All right. So we're very thankful we can all be here this morning, and that so far, despite Rebecca jinxing us, we're dry, and we can say a prayer to God. Now, the way I pray with all of you, you guys may remember this from other joint services, is that I'll say a phrase and you guys repeat it. Okay? Can we do that? You ready? And the congregation gets to join in. But if you're ready, let's go. Hey, God.
Hey, God.
It's us.
It's us.
Hello.
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 Thank you, God,
Thank you, God,
for a beautiful day.
for a beautiful day.
And thank you
And thank you
for all of our friends here with us.
for all of our friends here with us.
Amen.
Amen.
A reading from Psalm 46. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth be moved, though the mountains shake in the depths of the sea, though its waters rage and foam, though the mountains tremble with its tumult. There is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy habitation of the Most High. God is in the midst of the city. It shall not be shaken. God shall help it at the break of day. The nations rage and the empires fall. God speaks, and the earth melts away. The God of cosmic powers is with us. The God who bends the universe is here. The God of Jacob is our stronghold. Come now, regard the works of God. What wonders God has brought upon the earth. See the one who makes war to cease in all the world. See the one who breaks the bow and shatters the spear. See the one who burns the shield with fire. Be still then. Be still and know that I am God, exalted among the nations, exalted in the earth. The God of cosmic powers is with us. The God of Jacob is our stronghold.
This morning, we are invited into a time of reflection and ritual around the theme of Sabbath. I'm going to share a few words, and then Pastor Dan will too, and then Pastor Rhonda will lead us in a brief ritual, as Deb said. Brief or long.
You said nothing about that.
I should have been more specific.
I'm kidding.
We have chosen the theme of Sabbath because summer is a time that particularly invites us into a different kind of pace and focus and way of being. And this summer, Pastor Ashley from Lindale and Pastor Lori from First Christian have both begun their sabbaticals, in which they are reflecting on Sabbath and experimenting with taking the time to practice it. There are many aspects of Sabbath practice. Biblically, Sabbath is every 7 days, and it's connected to sabbatical every 7 years, which is connected to Jubilee every 7 times 7 years. Rest for the community is tied to rest for the land, which is tied to a restoration of just relationships between people and the land. The Bible also invites us to consider the Sabbath practices of good food, of slowing down and sharing in connection, of genuine relationships and worship. This morning, we are invited to consider Sabbath practice as reorienting and regrounding. Our psalm is a beautiful example of how much we need to reorient, how much we need to reground. But it also helps us know how to do it. Though the earth should change, though the mountains shake in the heart of the sea, the planet experienced the warmest July on record. Many of the thousands of refugees from Central America are escaping climate change. Though the nations rage and the governments totter, the suicide bomber that attacked a wedding festival in Kabul last night did so because they weren't the right kind of ethnicity, and they didn't practice their religion in the right way. Not unlike the El Paso shooter and the Christchurch shooter. Though the earth should change, though the nations rage, be still. Be still and know that I am God. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. This morning we sit amidst the cathedral of nature, with trees as our spires and breezes as our music. These are some of the most important reminders of reorientation. Far too much in our world seeks to have us worship violence. Far too much in our world tries to lie to us that greed and hoarding are just the way the world works. Far too many try to tempt us toward us versus them ways of being. But God calls us again and again. Don't get addicted to those lies. Come and focus on me. Don't get scared. Breathe deeply. Take a moment. Remember my love and my justice. Be still. Take some time at a lake, or notice the little bit of breeze in the trees. Pull yourself away from all that has to get done, all that has to be produced on time, and just sit on a dock or watch my glory in a sunset. Reorient yourself. Reground yourself in me. Be still and know that I am God. Amen.
So in that Sabbath practice of reorientation, of resting, there is also an aspect of celebration. There's an aspect of celebration of coming together. And as we reorient ourselves, I want to raise up what our wider churches did this summer, because this is one of those years where all three of us had denominational assemblies. That doesn't happen terribly often where we're all doing that in the same summer. So this was a busy summer for the general expressions of our church families. So the Evangelical Lutheran Church at their assembly in Milwaukee, and you're going to see a theme about that in a minute, they declared themselves a sanctuary denomination. And then there was a celebration, and it was a really cool celebration. If you were on Facebook, what day of was it Wednesday or Thursday? You remember?
It was
Later in their assembly, there was this big procession.
4.5 minutes.
that celebrate, and 4.5 minutes of procession is a long time at a general gathering. I'm just saying. And it was fun to watch because that procession celebrated three things. The 50th anniversary of the ordination of women in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, the 40th anniversary of the ordination of women of color in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, and the 10th anniversary, which happened 10 years ago this summer in this city, downtown at the convention center, with a little bit of weather kind of looking like this, but I don't think we're going to have that happen, of LGBTQ people being able to serve freely and without apology in the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. The Christian Church Disciples of Christ, we were just down the road in Des Moines this summer, and we entered into full communion with the United Church of Canada. We called ourselves to full welcome of the gifts and graces of our transgender siblings, and the wider church has been called to develop education, pastoral care, and institutional inclusion materials and policies around transgender issues and pastoral care for our siblings across the denomination. We also declared through 2 emergency resolutions that impartially providing for the basic human needs of others is a virtue consistent with disciples' tradition, and declared that refugee resettlement is deeply important, and we stand against our nation's reduction in refugee resettlement. And then our friends at the United Church of Christ, who are also down that road in Milwaukee, there's a theme, they called themselves to advocate for the protection of immigrant children at all levels. And then they recognized the Colectivo de UCC Latinx Ministries and the Mental Health Network of the UCC as historically underrepresented groups and ministries, which basically means it's time to get them to the table. They need to be part of everything at the general church, and we're not going to hide any longer. And then they also called themselves to stand publicly at all levels against the private prison system in America. And then Milwaukee, remember that theme? Well, both the ELCA and the UCC, during their assemblies, had marches. Now, the convention center in Milwaukee is a big building that happens to be a mile from a detention center in Milwaukee. And between the 2 assemblies, over nearly 1,100 people marched a mile from Wisconsin Convention Center to say that God welcomes everybody. God welcomes the stranger, and to bear witness against family separation and other immigration policies. So as we reorient, and as we reground, as we refresh, on Sabbath. Sabbath is also a time of celebration and a time of preparation for us as 3 congregations, part of wider church bodies, to live into those moments that happened at our general gatherings this summer.
Well, I get the honor of bringing it home. Forget home. Okay. I've been disturbed over the past several weeks by my friends in different regions of the country on Facebook who've been posting their back-to-school photos. Now, I understand why they start school earlier. I lived in New Mexico. Nobody travels or does anything Sabbath-wise in August in New Mexico, so they go to school from August to April. But I sit here in Minnesota as someone who is a native-born Minnesotan. And if you have experienced Minnesota for any length of time, you know that June, July, and August, they are sacred. Do not mess with June, July, and August. And as I'm looking at these back-to-school photos, I'm thinking, oh yeah, I got a teacher and 2 children going back to school after Labor Day. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not ready, which is a ritual for all of us here in Minnesota about this time of year, because the state fair starts this coming week, And we all know what that means. We all know that that is the end of summer. I hate to be the bearer of that news. But what's fun about being Minnesotan is, I don't know about you, but summer is full of lazy days and time for Sabbath. Whether you have the summer off and you have the luxury of just slowing down, or even if you are working, because summer is so short in Minnesota, there's this understanding of a slower pace, and we escape more often, and we love to be outside and experience God's creation. There's this slower pace, and about this time each year, we all start to drink it in like we are dying of thirst. These last few weeks of summer, we drink it in this Sabbath time, these times that we get to spend in creation and with family and friends in the summertime. These times that leave, it seems, more openings for us to experience God in different and various ways. We see them going by the wayside come Labor Day. And so we drink in the summer in these last few weeks like we are dying of thirst, just praying to experience all of it that we can, to store it up as fall turns. And so as we were thinking this week about Sabbath and summertime, my question was, how do we bottle that? How do we take it with us? How do we take those moments with my family on the pontoon, pulling the kids on a raft, trying to tip them off into the lake? How do we take the moments of fishing on the dock, or walking around the lake at the park, or just sitting in the backyard with a cool beverage and a fire? How do we take that time, that lazy pace, with us into fall? Well, I think some of it is mindfulness. In these last few weeks of summer, to quiet your hearts and to quiet your minds and remember to be still and to know that God is here, because we notice it a lot easier sitting on the dock or in the backyard. It's harder to notice when you have 3 kids in 3 different schools, and your husband needs a lunchmate in the morning, and I need a lunchmate in the morning, and I have a meeting on Wednesday night, and I got 4 baseball games this weekend, and then next weekend we have tryouts for basketball. It's harder to be lazy when all that is happening. So how do we do that? We have to be mindful. And for our youngest friends, I thought, well, we need to do a back-to-school ritual that will help them with that. And then I thought, well, we also need to do that for our teachers and our parents. And then I thought, well, you know what, we need to do that for everyone who is going back to a program year where things are starting off. And then I thought, well, you know, really, we need to do this for everyone. Because for everyone, life changes a little bit when summer comes to a close. And when I think of be still and know that God is with me, peace is what comes over my heart and my mind. And so we found a tag, and it says, well, we made a tag, and they say, peace. Yes. I told them if I could have a job where I sat and laminated and cut for 8 hours a day, I would be in my bliss. I really would. There's something about it. These tags say, peace be upon you. And those are the words that Jesus has for us in the world. Wherever it is that we go, whether we're at SpringHouse during the week, whether we're at school during the week, whether you're a teacher, a parent, whether you're working out at a regular job that doesn't have the summer off, wherever it is that you find yourself at the end of these lazy days of summer, we all need to be reminded that Jesus says, peace be upon you. And so, I don't know if any of my kids actually brought their backpacks. Did anybody bring a backpack? Because I would really like to. Could I borrow it for a second? And if you are a young person and you are going back to school of any kind, did you come up here? We're gonna do something, and then you're gonna help me with the rest of the crowd here. Well, maybe. Solving. Look here. I want you to pick a color here. They're all very pretty. And the rest of you young people can also pick one. Now Solveig, what I'm going to show you, Solveig was so kind to bring her backpack so I could show you, is this tag will go anywhere you want it to go on your backpack. Thanks for coming up. You bet. So we just put it on like that. Now, when Solveig goes to school, she's reminded that peace be upon her. And all of you are going to take one, and you're going to put it on your bag for preschool or going, I know you're going to first grade, and you can put that on to remind you of. And then I made enough so that everyone can have one. Whether you're a teacher or a parent, whether you're a scientist or a doctor or a janitor or a lawyer or someone that works at the speedway down the street from me, we all need to be reminded, peace be upon us. So we're going to pass these around. And if you don't get one right now in this minute, you can get one on the way out. But we're just going to pass them around. And then we're going to do a prayer. As these are going around, would you all pray with me over our backpack tag? Doesn't need to go on a backpack. You could take the tag off and put it in your wallet. Gracious God, we give you thanks and praise for all things that you give to us, especially the lazy days of summer. Help us to remember that even though life gets busy and crazy and hectic, that you are still palpably with us, and that your peace is part of our daily lives. Help us to reorient, to drink in these last weeks of summer, and then to turn our face toward fall, to being the people you created us to be, knowing that you are our God. Amen.
Amen.
Now, there's one more order of business for school people, some specific school people. I know that there's two, but there might be more. If you are going away and starting college, or moving away and going to school, would you please come up here? I know Salem has one, and I know Wendell has one, and we're going to bring them both up here right now. And I bet they're glad they have each other.
Well, Viva and Dana had each other, so like...
Right, see? Corinne and Emily are up here, and can you just tell these fine folks where you are headed?
University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Right.
University of Minnesota-Morris.
Wow. Do you do it?
Yeah, sure.
So we would like to invite us all into a clump. Do you all clump with the other two congregations? If you two can stand right here, and I want to invite everybody up and come forward, and as you're able, if you don't want to come up, just if you could raise your hand and join us, but come up and let us lay hands on these two incredible humans and bless them as they head off to college. Yeah, let's get families close in. Oh yeah, there you go. And Auntie as well. So I would invite us into a few moments, if you might offer up a word or two, tweet length, not sermon length, of blessing for either or both Corinne and Emily, and then Craig is going to close us in prayer. What blessings do you offer these two?
God of the journey, God of death and life, God of changes and transitions. We ask now that you send your Spirit upon these two, Corinne and Emily, that they might know your presence, that they might know themselves surrounded by a cloud of great witnesses, of support, of care and love. Embolden their hearts, open them to whatever comes next. Send them out in your peace. We all
As Luke and I can't start this without saying, God is with you.
And also with you.
In a posture, a mind and heart of prayer, we remember that on the night before he was killed by those who feared him, killed by those who disapproved his welcome of those different from him, killed by those who hated his touching of those they believed unworthy or abomination. On the night before he was killed by those who feared and hated him, Jesus sat at table with his friends, women and men and genderqueer folks of all ages, sharing in the feast of the Passover, which is the celebration of the liberation of God's people, and remembering God's power among them. Jesus took bread, and after he had given thanks and blessed it, he broke it, saying, "This is my work and my life for you and with you. Take it, all of you, and do this remembering me."
After supper, Jesus took the Elijah cup, the cup that was traditionally reserved for the Holy One to come. But instead of waiting, Jesus passed it on to them, as it is now being passed on to us. And he said, "This is the cup of the new covenant. It is the cup of justice and peace poured out for all. Drink of it, all of you, and do this remembering me." Each time we break bread together, we participate in the body of the risen Christ, for we together are the body of the risen Christ. And each time we share this cup, we participate in the new community, for we together are God's hope for the new community.
These are the gifts of God for the people of God. Here in these gathered communities of SpringHouse, we share in an inclusive communion, which means that you do not need to be a member of any of our congregations or any community of faith to join us at this table. For we believe that Christ is the host, that Christ sets this table, and that Christ welcomes all. We'll be serving at 3 different stations. I don't know if 1 there, 2 there, 1 in the back. Our bread is gluten-free bread, and wine and grape juice are available at all the stations. Is the wine the?
The wine is in the shorter, squat cup.
The wine is in the shorter squat cups. It is clear, and the grape juice is the darker colored in the taller cups here. As you come forward, whatever station you come to, we invite you to bring your offering envelope, and to place it in the offering plates next to each station. I know there's at least 2 here. And a special note to please write the name of the congregation you want your offering to go to on your envelope, on the outside of your envelope. Any undesignated gifts will go to SpringHouse in general. And if you need someone to bring communion to you in your seat, just wave to us or make some kind of commotion, and we'll bring it to you. My friends, these are the gifts of God for the people of God. Come now, for all is ready.
Let us sing together and bless this meal that we have just shared.
Please stand as you are able.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
No, that was this morning.
I'll help.
Alrighty, so Mike and Lou and the kitchen committee, thank you for all of your hard work today for the food, and thank you to everybody who brought something. So everything is up there on tables, and when they'll tell you what to do when you get up there.
Now may the God who shakes heaven and earth, who death could not contain, who lives to disturb and heal us, bless you with the power in the gospel to go out in God's name. Amen.
Amen.